Hey people, welcome to the Run Test. It's Kieran here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Hoka Rincon 3. Now this is a shoe that takes a little bit of heat for not being quite as durable as some people would like. So we've taken some of the comments that you put onto our channel to heart. We've put this shoe through a test over 200 miles to see how it held up. For that durability, the comfort, how it runs, is it better than the 2? Should you buy it? Is it a bargain? Watch on to find out. The quick details first. Well, the Hoka Rincon 3 come in at 210 grams or 7.4 ounces in the men's, 176 grams or 6.2 ounces in the women's, and there you have a drop of 5mm, and the price is £105 in the UK or $115 in the US. And you can also buy these in wide sizes. So this third gen Rincon is supposed to be a fast, light, cushioned, versatile trainer that can actually step up to a bit of racing too. So let's have a look at what's different here in the Generation 3. Well, you've still got a decent slab of moulded EVA foam in the midsole there. That also comes with an early stage Meta rocker that's been slightly tweaked from the second generation. They're lighter than the Hoka Carbon X3 and the Hoka Mach 4, and actually they're around the same weight as the Rocket X. They're a lightweight shoe, but they don't have that more responsive ProFly foam that you'll get in those other shoes. They feature a new vented mesh upper and a flatter, thinner foot wrapping tongue that's got much less padding than before, but you still get a healthy amount of heel collar padding for comfort and Hoka's familiar bucket seat feel that helps with the comfort and ground feel overall. There's also a slightly accentuated heel tab here, that's to help you slip them on and off, and there's also some high abrasion kind of rubber zones to protect that EVA kind of midsole foam and to provide a little bit of grip and extra durability. Now, a quick word on fit. I ran in this true to size in a UK 8.5. That's my regular size, and I found that it was fine. Good kind of hold around the heel. I found I got kind of nice sort of lockdown across the top. If you have really wide feet, some people do report this comes up a little bit narrow, but they do also come in wider sizes, so it might be worth looking into those if you struggle generally with that kind of, sometimes people think that Hokas have a narrower fit. I personally have found these fine without going for the extra wide. They've fitted really well. I found there's actually a reasonable amount of room in the toe box, so no problems there. I would recommend personally going true to size. Onto the run test then, and I've put in 200 miles at least in this shoe over a kind of mixed variety of sort of terrains. I've gone on some roads, I've done some stony paths, I've done some things that might kind of trouble the outsole really in terms of that durability. I've used it over a mixture of paces, different runs, lots of long, slow stuff for sure, just to test out also how that kind of midsole foam holds up. It's one of the big questions here that we've had posed to us about the Rincon 3, about the first and second generation actually, is about that durability. How well do these shoes last over a long time? And I have to say, in my tests, I'm still a big fan of this. I was a fan of the 1, I was a fan of the 2, and I think these have held up pretty well. Now for my money, you're pretty much getting, it's almost like a same shoe really as the second generation. If you like the second generation Hoka, you're going to like the 3 for sure. I think they run light, I think they run kind of fairly agile. I think, you know, the uppers are nice and comfortable. They've got a really lovely sort of disappearing feel on the foot. I think they offer just that kind of balance actually of directness but cushioning and protection that some shoes really struggle to hit the balance right. And I really like that. They do, I think, run maybe a little bit firmer than some people might like. But for me, that's something that I enjoy with my feet. I like that kind of direct kind of ground contact, and I think you get that with this shoe here. And one of the things I think is there's versatility here like there was with the 2. I think the lightweight kind of nature of these shoes means that and the kind of this sort of still sort of fairly high stack of foam means that they'll cope with those sort of longer, slower runs, but they're also agile enough, versatile enough that when you want to pick up the pace, they can cope too for sort of shorter, faster distances. Now, they're not kind of a fast training shoe by any stretch of the imagination, but I think, you know, in my head, I've got this kind of use case when you're doing those runs where maybe you're progressing to get faster during those miles, starting a little slower, getting faster by the end, or you want to go and do some long runs in your training where you're going to be required to put in some faster marathon pace, say intervals, or maybe even slightly faster than that, and then go back to kind of doing sort of slower recovery sort of jogs. These shoes, I think, do that job really well. And I've definitely, in my running where I'm at right now, I'm not running particularly fast. I am doing quite a lot of sort of longer, slower stuff. And I've taken these on some very long kind of 3-hour plods, if you want to call them that, where I'm just sort of ambling along. And I think they've coped remarkably well, although they are a firmer shoe, as I've said, and that's something that I, like other people, might need a little bit more protection. I don't think I would choose them as a marathon or half kind of race shoe, though I do think they are capable over that distance, but I think there are better shoes out there to do that. Now, another thing I really like about the Hoka Rincon 3, and after 200 miles, this has sort of really come into play, particularly on those kind of long runs, is you get this kind of wide base You know, it's a good platform, good wide sort of platform that I think offers really good stability to run off, particularly for me. I'm sort of mid to forefoot kind of striker. That makes for sort of good, reliable kind of stability over those longer runs, even when I'm sort of feeling a bit tired and my form's maybe getting a little bit ragged. The other thing, you've got this kind of trademark sort of bucket sort of seat inside the shoe where although these feel like a high stack, your actual foot kind of sits a little bit lower and is a little bit kind of, it's held in place, I think, inside the shoe. That's something that I think, you know, adds to the overall comfort of this shoe, and I enjoy that feeling. You've got, you know, ample kind of cushioning up and around here, even though it's a really sort of lightweight shoe. They have managed to squeeze in some sort of decent kind of long run kind of cruiser cushioning that you would normally find on shoes that are a little bit more kind of cruiser than these. And the other thing to say about that, having done all those miles, there's very little wear to this. You know, this is one of the places that tends to go very early in shoes, in my experience. You sort of wear through those kind of heel areas here. No problems at the moment with that. You've got an early stage rocker in here too, and I think that creates a really nice kind of easy, pleasant sort of roll through in the stride that helps to make these shoes, I think, feel a little faster, and kind of helps me with my kind of transition when I'm wearing these, makes me feel a little bit more kind of nimble, and particularly when you're sort of hitting some of those sort of cruising paces that I think they sort of come into their own, they perform really well. Now, one of the criticisms that get levelled at these shoes is that not enough has changed between the generations, so there's not a great deal of difference here between the 2 and the 3. You've got a sort of slightly tweaked upper, though I don't think it's particularly that noticeable on the run, and there's a slight tweak to the Meta rocker as well, but essentially I think these run pretty similar to the 2s. Now, if you like the 2s, that's a great thing, and you're going to get pretty much the same ride. If you weren't a fan of the 2, then the 3, the changes here, and I don't think are going to make you a fan of this shoe. The other thing I'll say, I think we put a lot of pressure on shoe companies to sort of do something new with generations of shoes, but, you know, if it ain't broke, don't necessarily fix it. If you're charging the same price, which these come in the same price as the Generation 2, then, you know, that's fair enough. You know, keep a classic is what I say. So if this was a shoe that you like, you don't want to see too many changes. You know, and I'm happy with that. I don't think they needed to push it on too much. I guess there's always the argument that you could say that other shoe brands have moved things on. We've got new foams, and Hoka might be getting a little bit left behind if they don't upgrade this shoe. But I think that this shoe does a very, very specific job. I think if you like that kind of direct kind of ground contact feel in a shoe that still comes with quite a kind of high stack of midsole foam, I think this is it really. You're still getting a lightweight performance, but you're not having that kind of squish and response that you might find with some other kind of cruisers or sort of versatile sort of, I don't know, daily trainers, if you want to put this into this bracket. And I think that's actually something that it makes a nice change from some of those other shoes that we've seen come on the market. And I do think there's a space for that for a certain type of runner who's looking for that. Now, onto that kind of major criticism that people have levelled at the Hoka Rincon. Durability. How has this held up over the miles that I've done? Well, after 200 miles, I think this has held up remarkably well. You know, one of the things that we get sort of asked is about the deadening of that kind of midsole cushioning foam that people find happen. I'm not a really heavy runner. In kilograms, I'm like 83 on a good day. I don't know what that is in pounds, sorry guys, but 180 pounds or something like that, I think. So I'm sort of, I would call myself sort of like a mid-weight runner, really. And I haven't, over those miles, found that this foam has lost any performance at all. I think the other thing is on the bottom of the shoe, the durability. This rubber has done, I think, a good job. There's almost sort of very little wear showing here. And even when you do get some kind of scratching up that you might get, I've taken it onto the sort of very sort of light sort of stony trails and stuff, the kind of stuff that would cut this up. Even when you do get that, you know, it's more kind of aesthetic rather than, I think, affecting the overall performance and function of the shoe. So from a durability standpoint, actually, I feel like for the miles that I've done in this shoe, it has held up remarkably well, and that's not something that I would kind of call it out for. Onto that verdict then, and after 200 plus miles, our Rincon 3s are still going perfectly strong. That EVA midsole foam hasn't lost any of its performance. You know, the uppers have held up well. There doesn't seem to be any signs of kind of too much signs of wear and tear in and around the heel collar. And I think they've done a sterling job. I'm still happy to run long miles in these at the moment. And though not much has changed between the generations, I think for £105, these still kind of represent a really good, solid daily trainer, sort of budget-friendly daily trainer option for sure. I think they're comfortable, they're light, they're agile. If you like a firmer, more direct shoe, then you're probably going to like these. If you like a softer, squishier, sort of squish and response shoe, then maybe not. These might not be for you, but definitely if you've got a like that kind of ground contact feel, then I think the Hoka have it. I think the Meta rocker kind of rolls through, it makes them a kind of happy cruiser that I've enjoyed running all kinds of different paces in. Are there better daily trainers out there? Absolutely. I think, for a kick-off, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 would do a better job. I think, there's a question about whether or not you would buy these over the Mach 4. There's the likes of the Puma Deviate Nitro and also the likes of the Adidas Boston 10 as well. But the fact is, if you like the Rincon 2, you're going to like the 3. If you've already got the 2, you don't necessarily need to upgrade to the 3. I don't think there's too many differences. If you were thinking of adding another pair into your kind of shoe rotation or whatever, and you're wondering whether or not you'd get the same ride, then I think you're not going to go wrong again with the 3 if you've already found the 2 enjoyable. In terms of having this shoe in your rotation, I think it's a really good kind of workhorse. It's one that could slot in really nicely and do a sort of range of kind of runs. It's an easy one for me anyway, I find, to kind of pop on for those runs where I'm not really sure what I'm going to get. And I think £105, I actually think, because that durability has held up over those miles that I've put into them, I would kind of recommend this as a pretty good budget option. So there you have it. That's the Run Testers verdict on the Hoka Rincon 3 after 200 plus miles. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to ask us any questions in the comments below. Hit like and subscribe to hear about our other shoe reviews. Check out some of the head-to-heads we've got on the channel that compare this shoe with others. And if you're looking for daily trainers, we've got a big daily trainer roundup on the channel as well too. That's worth a look in if you're wondering where to start in terms of which shoes to go for. We're going to have loads more reviews coming up on the channel soon, so stay tuned for those. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you again soon.